Scotty Milas here, Scott Milas, franchisecoach.com. Another episode of All Things Considered Franchising, what you know and know your why. Hey, I have to say that I have probably one of the, the nicest guy in franchising that I have come across in all the years. I like to refer to him as the gentle giant. I can never find anybody that says anything negative about our guest, and he is definitely an encyclopedia, a wealth of wisdom and knowledge on franchising. He's been in the industry for probably 30 years now. He's spent some time in the senior care market, and now he's with a brand called Fibrenew for about 10 years. Not only does the industry really love him and respect him, I mean, I don't think I've ever found a client or heard of anybody that had a client that just said, wow, this guy's really awful. But anyway, please welcome Bob Johnston to the program. Hello, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Scotty. How are you?
It's the year is over.
Yeah.
I've come out of hibernation. I was down in Florida doing my revamping for next year and what I want to do. So, but it's great to have you. And I guess my first question, Bob, before we take a deeper dive into Fibrenew is, and again, maybe take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, tell everybody how you got into franchising and, just tell us a little bit about your background, because, again, like I said, you're a living legend, this just great papa bear in the industry.
Okay. Well, I started believe it or not, in the flooring industry. I was a carpet salesperson, and I ran into a franchise owner who really liked my style, my attitude, my personality. And he didn't buy any carpeting from me, but he gave me a job offer and asked if I'd be interested in running their franchise development division because of my personality. And I'm like, gosh, I never knew nothing about franchising. And he kind of took me under his wing and he explained things to me. He let me go, and I did fantastic with them. And then when Fibrenew came along, I just thought it was the perfect fit for me, for my personality and everything, being able to tell people and explain to people what the whole program is all about. And to me, I find it so exciting because I talk to so many people that are so tired of corporate America. They got released or they went through the pandemic, and all things considered, they're looking for flexibility. They want to be their own boss, control their destiny, and they want to make money. And with an opportunity like Fibrenew, I get to explain it to them. And I always tell people, it isn't a selling point, it's an educational steps. We have a 5-step program, which I'll talk about.
Right.
Going through the steps really educates them. And I tell them there's no pressure here. And then I always tell them I applaud them for taking the first step to learn more about the opportunities.
Well, let's talk about the industry in a sense. And again, in your 30 years, I am sure you have come across a cross mix of the different personalities and people that are interested in business ownership. And I've always been a believer that, owning a franchise isn't necessarily a step into entrepreneurship, because being an entrepreneur is a kind of a visionary, somebody who wants to put together all the bells and whistles. I look at franchising as someone who wants to be in business, but has all the pieces to the puzzle there and just really has to learn to delegate and put that puzzle together through training and support. So when you look at franchising as a business tool for people to get into business ownership, how do you look at it? I mean, do you see it for the masses, or is it really take a certain character for somebody to be a successful franchisee?
That is probably one of the best questions you could ask. We all look for the right individual. When I talk to coaches, when we explain our model, we tell our coaches all the time, what we look for are these 5 qualifying traits. They cannot be colorblind. They've got to enjoy working with their hands. They've got to be, of course, trainable and coachable, because a franchise brings the model. They've got to be in decent physical condition, because occasionally they might kneel or bend and use their hands. And lastly, I look for that networker. I look for that person who really wants to solve problems for people, save them money, and save them downtime. And that's what Fibrenew brings to the table. So we go through the selective process. On the first call, we determine whether or not we're going to be the right fit. Because I asked the candidate, quite frankly, those 5 questions.
That's
And
good.
they answer them for me. And if there's something wrong, then we know maybe it's not the right fit. If it is right, which I would say 99% of the time it's right on, then I get to tell them the story about Fibrenew. And when I'm done, they're usually pretty pumped up. Because you as a coach, Scotty, you in particular, you really do a good job. And I'm not just blowing sand here. He does. He knows what we want in a candidate. And that's what you get with a good coach is they know the right individual. And as you do your testings and you do your things, Scotty can say, hey, these are the options I want you to see. And I'm going to tell you all, folks, he sets you up with all the best companies out there for your personality and for your traits. Take advantage of inspecting all of them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
I appreciate it.
you do a fantastic job. I get some coaches, Scotty, where they failed. They're colorblind. It's like
I know that's one of the first questions I ask clients when I'm presenting the brand. I tell them, look, the prerequisite here, number one, is you can't be colorblind. So if you are, we can move on to the next one. But let me ask you this, Bob. Franchising plays a very big role in driving the economy in the U.S. It is a small business. It is there's a stereotype about franchising that you're part of a big company and you don't own the company really, but you actually do own your franchise. And there are a lot of, I think my friend Emily had said it best at one point, that there's a lot of open doors behind the golden arches and the $5 foot long. Because when people think about franchising, those are the two things that really kind of come to the forefront. So if you are going to give somebody guidance on why they should be getting into a franchise and the kind of the ethics and the process to follow to make that validated decision, do you have any words of wisdom before we take a deeper dive into Fibrenew?
My words of wisdom would be investigate every opportunity you've been presented and do a soul search. Does this sound like me? If it does, know what a franchise brings to the table is not only the training and the support, but it's the ongoing support that's there.
Correct.
What I hear from the franchise owners I've placed, and I've been with Fibrenew a little over 10 years, let me just say I get a lot of Christmas cards. People are so happy because they tell me point blank, Bob, you said this was like a family. Everybody helps everybody. It's not just the support. It's even fellow franchise owners helping each other. And I think those are some of the key areas you really got to focus in if you're looking at a franchise is how is their training? How is their support and their products? Like with us, we're always dealing with products and we're always coming up with new products. So, you want to deal with a company
Right.
that's trying to be a leader in that field. And one thing about Fibrenew is I'll blow my horn is that we are the leader in our division by
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Right. Well, I think what's interesting about your market share outside of the independent type owners that are in your field, Fibrenew is definitely the leader in that franchise space. And I think one of the things that has always attracted me to Fibrenew, obviously as an organization, you're polished. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The people that I have placed there, I've never heard an unkind word about the operation. But I think as a business, one of the things that Fibrenew brings to somebody and puts on the table is the multiple revenue drivers that you have and the repeat business in the event that it's needed. So talk about the services for Fibrenew, talk about the revenue drivers. Again, take 60 seconds, 45 seconds, and really kind of paint this picture on that. Because I think that's an important, if you're going to buy a hamburger franchise, it's great, but not everybody eats a hamburger every day. But somebody could potentially, with your revenue drivers, really need your service once or twice a week or once or twice a month or 3 times a month. Am I correct?
You are very correct. All right, here I go. First of all, ours is a business where we save. It can be residential, it can be commercial, it can be medical, it can be the boating industry, it can be transportation business, the aircraft, it can be almost anything. Just remember this, whatever is leather, plastic, and vinyl, we can repair it and make it look beautiful. That's what we do. And when you think about it, everywhere you look, leather and plastic is everywhere. And when we go out and we work with a customer, we typically save them about 70, maybe 80% of what a replacement cost would be versus a repair. Secondly,
Interesting.
repair items, it's back in service typically in about 24 hours or less. That is huge. Now, with the revenue drivers we have, I always tell people there's three things about our model. It's the most recession resistant because it can be
Absolutely. Yep.
guns and blazes during the pandemic. So many
Yep.
people were home and they were looking at their furniture going, oh, gee, that couch looks a little rough, or that armrest looks, it's just so many things like that. It could be, the economy could be bright and rosy. We're doing great. When the one recession hit us back in 1987, we flourished. In 38 years of business, we're not some flash in the pan. In 38 years of business, we've never had a down year. And now we're at over 300, and I think it's 305 franchises around the world. We're in 6 different countries. So the need and the want is there. When you're looking at a business, you want something that's recession resistant. You want repeatable, like you just said.
Right. Absolutely.
Or boy, those people are going to love you. And number 3, it's a word I coined. It's called what a trickle down business, because people tell people.
Exactly. Yep. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. One of the things that always fascinates me about Fibrenew is that not only are there multiple revenue drivers, but there's really a number of different options about how you want to build your business. You can keep this business model to you're the man in the van, the woman in the van. Keep it simple, no employees. Maybe you have your wife or girlfriend or significant other answering the phone for you, but you can keep it really simple to that one van. But in reality, if you really want to, you can make this into a multi-van scalable business. And I like to use the word when I present it, build it as large as you want and then stop. So, I mean, is that a correct assessment that it can be simple, not a lot of moving parts, but you can also build it to have multiple territories, multiple vans?
Nail right on the head. That's one of the things that when people go into validation, I hear this all the time is, oh my gosh, Bob, I talked to this guy. He's the man in the van, making great money, happy as can be, works the schedule he wants to work. I've got the other guy who's maybe got 8 or 10 employees and he's building an empire. So you take it wherever you want to take it, because you know what? It's your business. We're not Big Brother breathing down your neck. We're telling you, you want help? We got support. We got a business development coach. You want to add team members? We help you every step of the way. And I'm really happy and glad you mentioned the word about men or females.
That's right.
This isn't an all boys club. We have like 13 or 14 women owners out there. And we do have a lot of, like you mentioned, husband and wife teams,
right,
where the wife will wear the hat of the office manager, which really helps the owner a lot because she can answer phones, she can set up appointments, she can take care of billings and things like that. So that is a real great positive when a significant other can help out. Either way, even if it's a wife running the business, the husband can help out a little bit. So
right,
it gives you a lot of options because, like you said, the man in the van, there's some people, I'll be honest with you, get displaced by corporate America. They're pretty happy. They've got their nest eggs put away, but they don't want to bring on a huge team. They're happy doing what they're doing. They don't want to sit on a couch and be a couch potato. They got to stay active.
right. Yep.
Tinker. So,
well, I think that you hit the nail on the head. The beauty of your program, I mean, obviously, look, you would probably love to see all of your franchisees be multi-million-dollar business drivers, right? I mean, I think every franchisor would love to see that. But the fact of the matter is that there are some people that are just content with making a living, but creating that work-life balance. Just, hey, I don't want to work. Don't send any appointments for me on Friday because my wife and I are getting away. I mean, your business is typically Monday through Friday. Maybe you make that occasional Saturday call. But the model itself, I mean, I tell people, look, it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but I got to tell you, if you're really looking to make, own a business, create your work-life balance, kind of be in your own driver's seat, get the support, Fibrenew really just has all those bells and whistles.
It really does. And like you said, you want to take off time, you take off time, you control your schedule. The schedule doesn't control you. And we're not typically out there doing evening calls and early morning calls, because when we go in and fix it during the daytime, it's usually back in service the next day. So
Right.
it's not a life or death situation where, oh, I got to get out to that house and cover the windows or do this or that. I can go out there and have my own schedule and have a life. So if your kids have got a soccer game at 4 o'clock after school, you're off at 3:30, so you can get there and see their games. Because in a
Yep.
blink of an eye, our kids grow up, and you want to be able to enjoy that family time.
But it's safe to say, though, Bob, and you touched on this earlier, that the candidate with that sales aptitude, that networking ability, it's important trait of being a successful franchisee within the Fibrenew system, correct? I mean, this is not a retail business where people are going to walk in your door. Sure, you could probably do some social media type work to promote your business, but you really got to get out there and network, kind of not knock on doors. I mean, look, you and I, you may chuckle when I say this. This is not a Willy Loman. You're not going to carry a briefcase around and knock on doors. It's not the death of a salesman. It's a networking. I mean, you got to get out there and show people what you do, and let, like you said, that word of mouth trickle down and grow your business.
Well, one of the best tools we have is when they become a franchise owner with us, they get their iPad. The iPad's completely downloaded with all of our tools, but there's 3 tools in there that really, really help them succeed. The first one is what you're just describing. It's called the photo gallery. When you open up the photo gallery, each one of our referrals has before and after pictures. You and I both know pictures speak louder than words. When they can show a customer what they can do and say, give me an opportunity, you won't be disappointed. They look at those pictures and they look at them and they say, you really can do that? Give me one opportunity, you won't be disappointed. So that really helps. We have another tool called the Color Eye. It looks like a TV scanner. You go up and it gives you the color codes right there. Now, it's not always 100%, but we're finding color very quickly. Before we had this, we used color charts and wheels, and they were great, but they were a little time consuming. With this, we're finding colors so much quicker. And the last is we provide them with a CRM program. It's called, we use Jobber, and it keeps them completely organized, and they're trained on all facets of that, which really gets them up and going pretty quickly.
Right. Now, one of the other fascinating things about Fibrenew, and I think, as people are listening to this, they probably got in the back of their head that this is a brand an investment that's just way off the charts. And frankly, it's not. And I think that's the remarkable part about this is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you just went through renewing your FDD and your item 7, but you can really get into this business with a van, renting a van, or using an existing van, or I think you can use an existing vehicle, get it wrapped, but you can get into this business for just slightly under $100,000. Am I correct?
Yeah, I would say it would be between about 100 to 105,000 if they have their own vehicle. If they don't have their own vehicle, well, then you're going to have to invest on a vehicle, but almost any type of vehicle will work. And what it does is it gets wrapped and your vehicle becomes your drivable billboard. So you get phone calls, people texting you, emailing you. They even honk their horns at you. And we do a lot of work and get a lot of jobs at the gas pumps where people are reading the logo and, can you really do that? And then they show them a couple pictures, give them their card, and they get a phone call. Hey, I met you at the gas pump the other day, and I got something I want you to.
That's interesting. Now, you are on the SBA registry, so you are financeable, right? I think it falls under the SBA Express loan. No, I mean, I got to tell you, to the audience out there, if you're looking for something that does not have a lot, like I said before, a lot of moving parts, really is not stressful. I mean, yes, you are dealing with a consumer, so to speak, but It's not that stressful consumer. It's a need. It's not a want. I mean, they need to get something fixed on the commercial side, business side. These, you definitely don't want to sit in a dentist chair with the chair being ripped, and it happens. So it's definitely a play. But Bob, let me ask you this: franchising as an industry, you've been around the block for 30 years. You've seen a lot of things change. You've seen a lot of things happen. What is it about the franchising industry that you see that makes this all fun, that it continues to be a major element in today's economy as far as business ownership? What is most fun about the franchising industry to you?
Most fun to me is when I meet the individuals and we walk through the steps and I can feel the excitement growing. People realize the needs and the wants. They also realize that, hey, you got to be trainable and coachable because, hey, come on. I use the analogy, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The systems are there, the
Right.
programs are there. That's the biggest obstacle of success. You're not throwing money out the window. You're following a detailed program that's going to lead you to whatever level you want to be. You want to be in a man in the van, you want to be an empire builder, become a semi-absentee owner, you have it all available. And
Right.
that's what I think a lot of the companies out there are striving for, a lot of the franchise opportunities. And, I think that we want you to be happy. That's why I always told people in the beginning, I'm not here to sell you a darn thing. My role is to educate you. And the first four steps are learning, learning, and learning.
Right. Yep.
And you get to go on a physical ride day and you got to go live. You get to see everything happen in front of your eyes and you get to participate. When people get done with their ride day, oh my gosh. A lot of times we have a meeting 2 days later and I get a phone call as they're driving home saying, oh my gosh, Bob, what a day it was. So
Right. Right.
that's what I see as the excitement. And it gives people and consumers an opportunity to be their own boss, to control their own destiny. So many times I hear Scotty when I'm interviewing him is, I wanted to always do this, Bob, but I couldn't afford it. Now I can afford it. I have the funding, I have the money. I want to be my own boss and I want to control my own destiny. And that it's so great to hear that for people. And like I said, when they go through the process, it is awesome. It for me personally, I just love it. I mean, it's
Well, I
exciting.
think Bob, you just said something that I think I have to bring to the attention of our listeners. You know, there are those brands that I deal with, and I deal with a lot of great developers, people, brand representatives, people that represent the brands. But you're one of those guys that really has a passion for what you're doing with Fibrenew. I mean, you really believe in the process and the product and the company. I mean, more importantly.
Well, being here for 10 years, I wish the heck I could have been here for 30 years because I never look back. I'm looking straight ahead and I see what we're going for, and we bring on quite a few franchises a year, but I always tell people in the United States alone, we still have over 400 openings still available. We're still growing and growing. Our goal is by 2026 or 2025 to be at 500 locations worldwide. And that's quite an accomplishment because right now we're at 305. I think they said in the latest resources I read that only 18% of franchises achieve over 300 franchise owners.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So, Bob, you are an outdoorsman, if I remember correctly. You love getting that fishing pole. You love getting outdoors. What's next for Bob? I mean, where is Fibrenew going? Any exciting thing planned for Bob Johnston and his family? I mean, you're an outdoorsman, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward. I fish, I bow hunt, I gun hunt. For those of you who don't like hunting, I'm sorry, but I love it. I've got 3 sons, and now I got some grandchildren and granddaughters that are participating. We love to get out there and fish. We're really looking forward. We're such a tight knit family. We're looking forward for the Christmas holidays, and I'm very lucky and blessed that all 3 of my sons live in about a 3-mile radius of us. So I get to see the grandkids and my kids all the time. We support them in all their sporting events, go to as many games as we can. And to me, that's what life's all about. It's about our families. And, for people looking at a franchise, that family thing is what I hear all the time.
Yep.
Be able to have that with their family. And by getting into an opportunity where you can control your time and your schedule and still make very good money and be your own boss, I think that's the best thing for everybody.
That's great. Bob, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you? What is, contact information you'd like to share if somebody would like to just have a general conversation, if they, if for some reason they bypassed me, or how could someone get a hold of you?
If you'd like to reach me by phone, I'm on Central Time and my phone number is 262-457-4272. I'm in Wisconsin. And my email is bjohnston, JOHNSTON, @fibrenew.com. And Fibrenew spelled a little different. It's FIBRENEW.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any additional questions or anything you'd like to discuss.
All right. Well, Bob, look, this has been great. It's always fun talking with you. I'm looking forward to getting to share a cocktail with you at one of the upcoming conferences we usually run into each other at. And I wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas and a safe and healthy New Year. It's always great to talk with you, and please stay in touch. We look forward to getting you back here in a little bit and giving us an update. But we've been talking to Bob Johnston, who is part of the development team, VP, actually not director of franchise development, I guess is the best way to put it, for Fibrenew. This is Scotty Milas, Scott Milas, franchise coach. You can reach me at 860-751-9126 or Scott at scottmilasfranchisecoach.com. Another episode of All Things Considered Franchising. What's your no and know your why. Until next time, have a great day.